Hey everybody, welcome to another honest review. Today, obviously by the title, I'm going to be talking about the first episode on Scooby-Doo, which is the What a Night for a Night part of the Where Are You series, and probably by far the most iconic episode of every Scooby-Doo series to this day. And I say that because when you buy, it's not in every, but when you do buy a Scooby-Doo movie or series, and they have bonus features that feature some episodes that could be related to the theme of that movie, but 9 times out of 10 don't. Most of the time, it will always contain What a Night for a Night. I'm not saying every single one does, but majority of them will contain What a Night for a Night. It's the first one that has title cards unique to the episode itself. If you look at all the other title cards for Scooby-Doo, they have the generic template that they make, and not generic, like it's a sample one that they made and they just like used it, changed it for each one. Where What a Night for a Night, they actually put a lot of work in that title card. So when you say generic episode, it literally is, because the title card is generic for that episode. Whereas after that, the title cards were basically a default in a sense, where they just reused it but changed the text on each one. Don't get me wrong, they were good, but What a Night for a Night title card is probably by far the best. It just stands out. It's like they put a lot of work in this first episode pilot, because, you know, if the pilot sucks, and this is the true fact, if the pilot sucks, then the series doesn't really go well in the end. And it either cuts out midway where they end the series off, or it doesn't get back for a season 2. And I think, what was it? There was a series, it was the In-Betweeners, not the UK one, but the US one, the In-Betweeners. I think after the pilot episode, it was so bad and got a lot of hate that they just cancelled it out of nowhere. Like, you know, there's like, you can't even find that online. Like, I've been trying to search for the In-Betweeners US online. It's like, it's been deleted from the internet. Like, it's really hard to find out. So sometimes it all matters about the pilot. And What a Night for a Night had the best title card, probably the best theme of the entire series. I'm not saying it's like the best overall episode. I'm not saying there's something wrong with the episode, but when you take out everything, it's still a decent one to watch. It will definitely make it on a top 10 list. But if you had to exclude it, it would still, you know, find its way shielded in there. Mostly focused on, like, obviously teens, but they didn't care about making it like too kid friendly. Like, obviously, yes, there were no murders, but they made it, like, creepy as they could. Like, dark tone, as you will. You know, try to make the atmosphere feel creepy, the music fixed the settings perfectly. Like, they spent a lot of time just using what they had by drawing each scene, but also trying to make it so the soundtrack builds up that tension and like finalizes the final cut. So the whole plot behind What a Night for a Night is the fact that this Black Knight ghost comes alive every full moon. That's what the legend says. And then I don't know what it does to his victims, probably sucks them dry or just straight up kills them, but the whole legend of the Black Knight ghost comes alive and haunts the halls, or, you know, kills somebody. They didn't even go like a whole lot of details about what he does, but if he's gonna come alive and it's on a full moon, 9 times out of 10, he's straight up killing people. And I really love how the scene opens up with the Black Knight ghost opening, like coming alive while it's in a storage crate. And that crate's not even bolted down, which is very weird, because normally when you're transporting a good that size, you want to make sure that it's nailed down so nothing's getting chucked around or thrown out, because if you might go over a speed bump or a pothole, you could be going 60 miles per hour, we don't know. But yeah, this wasn't secure at all, and it shows the full moon with the Black Knight Ghost rising, and then the driver as well. Like, it just pans out the darkness, though in your mind you're thinking, shit, the driver's dead. Because 9 times out of 10 in a horror situation, when they show a scene like that, the driver's dead. Okay? It's a fact. If I was going to come back alive as a poltergeist or possess an object, the first thing I'm doing is killing the first person I witnessed, because, you know, screw it, keep the law. Yeah, you have to go be direct. And then it goes to another scene with Shaggy and Scooby walking back from a movie theatre. You don't really notice this like till later on with these two, but when looking back on this episode, when you know the characters, Shaggy and Scooby, why the hell are they walking back from a cinema movie, like a movie at night in a creepy wooded area? The most cowardly chickens of them all are brave enough to walk in the pitch of darkness with only the moonlight to give them like peripheral vision, and they're fine with it. But give them a haunted house, they're scared. I never really understood that with those two. Like, even though we just see a pan shot, we don't really see the whole thing. It could be next to the city, they could be next to buildings, but from that angle alone, it looks like they're in a forest walking through, dirt tracks or whatever, off path road to get home. And it just looks creepy as hell, because there could be serial killers in those woods, you don't know. But they're brave enough to walk through there. And to this day, it still bothers me. Like, I want to see a wide angle shot. I want to see a bird's eye view. I want to know exactly where they are, because it's those two. I'm probably just beating the bush and, fixated on the wrong thing. It could just be, I'm a weirdo, but I can't be the only one that's, sus about that. And then they find this abandoned truck. They find it abandoned, and they're brave enough to walk up to it like it was nothing. Check it out. It's like, really? If Fred says let's look for clues, and you go in the basement, no, you don't want to do it unless it's for a Scooby snack. But when you're on your own, walking through, dead at night, but it could be a suspect in the dark. You don't know. Like, oh, there's a abandoned vehicle. Let's check it out. I never understood the logic of that with those two, open up with the scaredy cats. Like, they still act scared at some scenes with the frog and that, but as a whole, when you question it, like, if you're that scared of going in the basement or going to a haunted house, why don't you just get Fred to drive you home? And that's the other thing as well. When they notice that there's a Black Knight, suit of armour in the driver's seat and there's no driver, they run immediately, and instead of phoning the police, say, hey, hello, officers, there's an abandoned pickup truck with a suit of armour in the driving seat. I just thought you should know in case the actual driver's dead or something. No, they go to Fred, of all people, instead of the authorities. But again, if they did that, then the episode would end and then we wouldn't get anywhere. So the whole idea is to set them on a path of a mystery, which, this is how it happens. They stumble upon this crime scene. They find out there's Hyde White's property of, and it's going to the museum, which, from there on, they're like, okay, now we know what objective is. And then it pans to the museum, where they get thanked for bringing them the Black Knight ghost, but at the same time, he warns them that they shouldn't because of the curse. Before we get into the curse bit, let me just understand this. So, they found it abandoned, and instead of getting the cops again, this is Fred the leader, they're like, oh, let's just deliver it ourselves. Because at this point, we haven't seen any police. There's a missing person. This Black Knight ghost has been delivered there. And there's no police. Not yet. Not even a sheriff. Nope. No. Oh, the teens have got this. Yep, the Mystery Inc. gang. They got this. We don't need to do anything just yet. That wouldn't happen. And I'm pretty sure if you don't report a crime scene that you're aware of and you're tampering, and you investigate your own, you're tampering with potential evidence. I'm not a lawyer, but I am really thinking about this as an adult and not a kid. That's the thing with shows, when you grow up in that, your mindset changes. As a kid, I would never question this. I would be like, yep, that's typical teen stuff. Now that I'm an adult, I'm like, question everything. Every possible detail. What the hell were they thinking? And then back onto the curse, when the curator there tells them about the curse of the Black Knight ghost coming alive on a full moon, they then reveal that there was a full moon that night when the professor was kidnapped.
The Black Knight is supposed to come alive when the moon is full. Like, wow, the moon was full last night.
Alright, so we just, warn these kids there's a curse, and then that pretty much clarifies that the professor is probably dead. Police should probably be called at this point, but we don't because we're kids and we don't question it. But now as an adult, I'm questioning it. I should have really done this as a podcast group of other Scooby-Doo people out there, because God, this is a mindset. We could go on for ages about going over every detail with the Scooby-Doo episodes. And after they're done talking away, they're about to leave, but obviously they need a reason to come back. So Scooby-Doo wanders around, finds these like eyeglasses, whatever they are, and he takes them. Which, you know, that's a whole open up the whole reason why they want to go back in there, and now they have a reason to go back. So even if somehow the police do arrive to question them, saying, "Oh, why are you here?" We got the glasses, we're returning it. But then they had the stupid idea of trying to break into a museum dead at night.
That settles it. There's something fishy going on in that museum.
Louie?
Right, Scooby. Tonight, we're going fishing.
So they're aware that something fishy is going on. They still don't phone the police, and they start breaking and entering. This is why I like the Mystery Inc. gang. They're everything that I wish I could be, but I'm not. Nowadays, when you're a kid, you don't question this stuff, you just do it. Now as an adult, you're like, oh God, do I really want to break into that place, even though it's kind of cool and I really want to do it, but I don't really want to get a criminal record, and I don't really want to go to jail. Do I really want to do it? I wish I was young again. That's the mindset. That is. It's like, as you're teens, you're not even full adults yet, you could probably get away with stuff like that and be let off with a warning. But it's the breaking in part which I find very fascinating, because when you watch Scooby-Doo episodes, especially the older ones, it's not every episode, but now and then you find an episode where they release a certain amount of information about that character, so that way they feel familiarised with each other, so it gives the audience a bit more details about them. And it's one where they try and boost Shaggy up with the ladder, and Daphne reminds them that Shaggy's the swinging, like the best gymnast in their school.
Don't worry, Shaggy's the swingingest gymnast in school.
And it's like subtle hints like that we get throughout the entire series, and even later ones, that we find new information about the gang. There was a bonus short that they did where they went over each of the gang's characteristics as one whole video, and in that video, I forget Scooby-Doo behind the scenes, and you talk about each of the gang members, so you know bits about them. And Shaggy has a particular belt buckle, and I don't know if they include it in the series now, but back then he used to collect them. And when you watch the old series, every time Shaggy's got a belt buckle on and you see it, it's different. And I don't think they do it now, but I think they might throw it in there now and then where Shaggy's got a belt buckle. But back then in the early series, and I know most of you are probably going to go back and re-watch a lot of them now, just pay attention to Shaggy, because slight details of the belt buckle is actually true. They did change it up a bit. It's not in every episode, but if you see a few, episodes where Shaggy shows off his belt buckle, it's different. And sometimes you might see it just because it's on screen. So yeah. In fact, little small details like that became a factual thing about the character. They're so in depth now that we have a whole setting about them. But also knowing that he's a gymnastic and he's probably the best in their school, it's the way he gets in there. And if anyone can do it in real life, props to you. But Shaggy has a way with his body which just stuns me. Like the way he got in that door, through that small gap, I would have just got stuck halfway through. I'm not gonna lie, my size, I would never have got up there. Shaggy, on the other hand, he leaped and then grabbed and then swung himself in like a boss. That's a hidden talent right there. Obviously, it's got to be funny as well, where he goes in there and he hits everything going down, including the ceiling, and he just tears through each layer to get to the bottom. Which I find that's pretty amazing, because when it shifts inside, you just see all the rubble on top of him. Which, how he got unscathed is beyond me. But in the supernatural world, if they did it for real, he would have been in a hospital stretcher for sure. He would have been carried out there. And the police would have been like, what the hell are you doing breaking in at this time? Don't you know what you're doing? But it's also an interesting bit, because it actually shows the inside of the museum at night time, and the setting changes from not so creepy to creepy in an instant when it's at night time, and it really shows the difference between day and night, which I kind of like that effect. I believe that's what they were going with, where you look at something during the day, not scary, but look at it during the night time, scary as hell. Okay, without a doubt, you can walk to the park in broad daylight, but at night time, do I really want to go to the park now and feed the ducks? I might get stabbed. Now I'm not going to do it because it's creepy as hell. Okay, it's scary. And that's what they've done with the museum bit, and what I find really nice, but you get to see a whole panning through of the museum. And they did it in the video game. I don't know if people played it on the N64, but Scooby-Doo had a unique game for the N64 called Classic Creep Capers. I used to own it on Game Boy Color, and that was the thing about that game. I'll have to do a video about it at some point, talking more in depth, but it had two games that were different, but then under the same name. So first it was on the N64, same title, Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers. It had 3 levels from the series, and one of them was the pilot episode for What a Night for a Night. And it even done the same thing, you have to go through the ladder. It followed the episode to a T. Okay, it had to change it up for the gameplay, but it followed to a T. Then when it moved on to Game Boy Color, they had a different episode entitled, because it's Game Boy Color, they couldn't fully do it, and you had the Mr. Hyde episode on there. So yeah, I will do another video fully explaining that, but it's just amazing how the episode was so popular, so like everyone remembers it, to the point where they made it as episode, like a game level on an N64. It played terribly, and you know, I still hate it to this day because of the camera angle, but it's still a fun enjoyment, because if you beat all 3 levels you get a bonus unreleased episode level, which was kind of awesome. So yeah, that was pretty enough fun, but you had to beat all 3 levels to even enjoy that episode. But yeah, if you watch the episodes, you could breathe through the missions easier, because you know the layout, or sort of. But that N64 gave a more open world perspective to the museum, so you could explore it a bit better. But also there was a Black Knight ghost chasing you down, so yeah, 50-50 on that part. But with every mystery, there's always a yin, like a reason behind it. Why is this happening? Obviously it's not going to be a real ghost, because eventually Velma finds clues, stuff happens, and then they have to capture the Black Knight ghost. There were some funny scenes in it, like I like how there's a painting missing, and then when Shaggy brings people back, there's a painting there. But the most funniest bit is when they get separated. Now I don't understand the logic in this. So there's a scene where it's Fred. No, it's a scene when there's Velma, Shaggy and Scooby. They're all together, okay, and they walk up to the corridor, and obviously Shaggy's behind Velma and Scooby. Velma and Scooby are waiting, looking into this room, and Shaggy just walks by them, carries on walking like he didn't notice they were there, and then Velma and Scooby walk into that room. Keep in mind, the frame they were moving at, they weren't far apart. They're like, oh god, we lost Shaggy. How? He walked past you. That was like physically impossible at that point. If he got through a trap door or got kidnapped, yes. But he walked by you. If anything, he just wanted to get away from you at that point. But how did you lose him? I have no idea. 2 of you there. He walked by you like you were a ghost or something. You were Casper at that split second. That scene, I'm thinking, what? It's either that scene or the scene where Velma thinks the Black Knight ghost is Shaggy.
You sound terrible. I told you to take care of that cold. Lucky I brought your medicine.
Yeah, literally, Scooby runs into Velma, knocks her off her feet. She loses her glasses, and it's that iconic. That was the start of the most iconic thing ever in Scooby-Doo history, where Velma just loses her glasses and she's on the floor, and people meme the hell out of it now. Like, that is in so many episodes. It's still gold to this day, and it's just the fact that like people have memed it so much now. It's like next level stuff. When she gets up and then she sees the Black Knight ghost, she instantly thinks it's Shaggy with a sore throat, and then obviously the Black Knight ghost is in some medieval contraption. I forget what it's called, I should know this, but he's in some sort of contraption like that, and she ends up trying to pour some medicine to give to him. Like, she just carries that with her. She carries a spoon and some medicine. I think I thought the outfit she was wearing didn't have pockets, but they do. unless under her massive like fleece jumper there's a bag. Because how she managed to pull that out is beyond me. I'm thinking some weird shit right now. Like where did she get the spoon from? And the medicine. But that's not the only thing. Like, she's lost her glasses. They're still on the floor. She hasn't picked these up yet. Keep that in mind. She has not picked up her glasses. She's still blind. She cannot see. She's squinting. She can't even see who that is. And then next scene we have Shaggy coming in. Her glasses are magical on her face. And she's acting squinting like she can't see, and she just puts it in Shaggy's mouth.
In a jiffy.
Let's get out of here!
See? You sound better.
Where did your glasses come from? And two, how did you not notice the Black Knight ghost literally beside you? He's still hooked up in chains, like he's just enjoying the scenery right now. And Shaggy's having his cough medicine when he doesn't need it, which... You know, they say not to take cough medicine if you don't have a bad throat, but hey, you know, life lesson. Did the artist just forget she was like temporary blind or something? That's the only way to look at it. Like, probably the people drawing it, like, did she have glasses on? I could look back at the other thing. Nah, just put glasses on there. Obviously, she needs a glass. How can she see? They must have really messed it up there. Like, it's that one split-second scene where they just like changed it and she's got her glasses on when they shouldn't. But she's still acting like she can't see. And the clues as well. Like, that's another thing as well. The clues that they find, like finding the paint on the floor that looks like blood, finding a room with all these paintings in, and then, you know, obviously trying to fit all this together with Fred doing his amazing trap, which in itself is like probably the best that I love for Scooby-Doo are the traps, because they're so over the top unnecessary, but it works awesomely. Like, you know, the amount of time and thought process into that is like, Fred knows what he's doing. Like, he's a survivalist, like he knows his stuff. Like, if you want him to hunt, he could probably capture anything. That's Fred. And I love his traps. Every single episode has something unique and generic. I don't think there's a time, unless Fred needs something simple, I don't think there's ever happened. There probably is, just take the mickey, but normally Fred's like traps over-trap themselves. Like, he really makes them complicated than they already are, but it works. It shouldn't, but it works. And some people have tried recreating some of these traps, and no, some of them do work. Like, I'm sure some of them will work. But the fact that people out there that will recreate them to see if it's a possibility. This one, on the other hand, will not happen, because it's very unlikely. Because it involves a plane in a museum that works. Yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah, there's a plane in a museum that both Shaggy and Scooby ride, and they're flying around with the Black Knight Ghost doing the whole little chase dialogue. And the plane's working while it's in the museum. This is what I love as well. They capture, goes then there's like, okay, I think it's time to ring the sheriff. Let's bring the sheriff in. If I was that sheriff, I would be so annoyed that my job was being done by me, because the embarrassment of it all. Like, I've just been outplayed by a bunch of kids and a talking dog, and they drive a hippie van. Nice, my life is complete. And the sheriff is cool about it. Like, he's not even gonna scold the kids about doing what they did. Instead, he's there listening to them explaining how they caught the monster and how they deducted everything into logical reason. As a kid, I love the breakdowns. I love I love the explaining. I love it all. But when you come back as an adult and we watch it, it's like, how is that police officer so chill? I wish police officers were chill to this day, because that is a chill dude right there. Like, he does not care. He's like, you just saved me a lot of paperwork. Because then it's finally revealed that the whole reason why they used the story of the Black Knight Ghost to scare everyone away, and also kidnap the professor in the process, was so that they can get away with their art con, but they keep stealing the paintings and then putting fake ones up and then send the real ones on the black market to make a lot of money. And the only reason why they kidnapped him to begin with is because he's the only one that could tell the fakes from the real ones, which obviously, you know, it'd be bad at his job, he didn't know how to do that, so obviously you have to take him out. But it's like, if you went through all that, if you're prepared to sell him on the black market and make millions now, why don't you just kill him? At the end of the day, when you think about it though, you go through all that hassle, the last thing you want to do is keep the person you kidnap alive. It's like, let's just bury him out the way, sell all the stuff, kill the kids, because we already killed one, might as well kill them as well. Bury them in the hole of the professor bit, dig away, sell all the merchandise, and live out somewhere, you know, for the rest of our days, drink until we're old. Probably an easy way of doing that, and then just getting foiled by a bunch of brats, but yeah. So I can see what is the most like viewed and most popular episode out of the Scooby-Doo bunch, and why it's on mostly every physical media release. Because it deserves to be on there. Without this episode, there wouldn't be any Scooby-Doo. And you know, it used to be on a time when it used to be on Saturdays, and then it would change to Sundays as well. The reruns were amazing. Like, I remember watching the summer because I'm a '90s kid. It used to start on a Saturday and a Sunday for me, and then when the summer hit, it was like every single day except for the weekend. So Monday to Friday, you get Scooby-Doo all day on the channel. And on the weekends, you get other, like, Hanna-Barbera shows. So, yeah, Scooby-Doo was very popular, and it still is today. I haven't seen really the marathon. I don't know if the marathon's the same as I remember, but I think there are like newer episodes. Like, I think they rarely show the Where Are You ones, because I remember seeing a lot of the new Scooby-Doo show ones with the intro of the new Scooby-Doo show, and a lot of the Where Are You ones. I never saw all the new Scooby-Doo movies until later on, because not all of them could re-air due to certain legalization reasons. I forget the whole reason behind it, but they couldn't rerun certain new Scooby-Doo movie episodes. It was weird. I think with some deal with the voice actors or something back then. Yeah, so that's my review talk on What a Night for a Night, episode 1 of the Where Are You series. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Let me know your comments below. Sort of as kind of a rant as well, while I try and like overthink some scenarios. I do know as a kid show, but I still have to question it as an adult, because that's the mindset that changes over time. As a kid, you don't really like question certain things, but it's always good coming back to an old show you used to watch as a kid with a new mindset. But like, why did I question that? Why is that happening? Surely that isn't legal. It's just like, it doesn't ruin the episode. It still makes the episode great, but I still like talking about that logic. If I had more Scooby-Doo friends to talk with, then we'd probably have the whole same discussion going over every episode, breaking it down, just having our own theories about why that's happening and why it isn't happening the way it should be. And it could be a good show. Like, it could be a good podcast to talk about. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I'll probably be back with more when I'm back on my holiday, but yeah, like always, remember to subscribe, turn post notifications, and I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.